let me invite the captain of our club to preside over this meeting. He is one of the most passionate and dedicated Toastmaster and a true leader. Dear Toastmaster, please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Shannon. Over to you, Toastmaster Shannon.
Thank you for the introduction, Naveed. You know, looking at my body, you might be surprised that I'm not the most sportsy, athletic kind of person. But what I'm going to use today is an example of cricket. Now I come, well, you can imagine my body. So I'm from the US. I don't know a whole lot about cricket. So I can watch a cricket game and I can see people, different players are doing things, but I won't really know what they're doing. So either I can keep watching and wondering, or I can go to different people and ask what's going on, or I can actually try some of the positions so I get more familiar with the game. Toastmasters is sort of like that as well. We have a lot of new members here, and a lot of members may be wondering, what are these people doing, and why are they doing this, and how are they doing that? So what we're trying to do now is go a little bit different direction, provide more education sessions, and provide more opportunities for members to be more willing to participate in our meetings. So that's one of the themes that we're going to be going forward with. I'm going to ask the Zoom master to please spotlight the club officers, the new club officers, please. That's VP of Education, Neha, VP Membership, Nashad, VP Public Relations, Nadal, Secretary Amina, Treasurer Garav, Sergeant of Arms Naveed, and Media Past President Sanila. If you can highlight us on one screen or spotlight us on one screen. So I'm doing this because, so everybody has an idea who will be taking the club forward in the coming year. So that's who we have now from the club officers.
Hadi, we have Amina.
Yeah, Amina's here. How about Nadal? Is he coming?
He mentioned he'll be joining in 10 minutes. He'd gone for prayer. Yeah.
Okay. So how about Amina? There we go. Okay. So these are the people, along with Media Past President Sanila and the VPPR, VP of Public Relations, Nadal, who will be taking the club forward. I'm going to ask each of them to give a brief introduction of an overview of what they'll be doing in the next year. You'll be hearing an education session from Neha, but let's start with Neha and just give a brief overview of what you plan for this year.
So a very good evening, everyone. And my name is Neha. I was the VP membership last year, so most of you know me, even the people who've joined the club. This year, we have a lot of new things planned. And during my education session, I'll be walking you through. We have a club calendar, and we plan to have, for example, some outdoor activities if situation permits. And we're looking forward to meet you in physical meetings or as a club when we do club activities quarterly. There are other activities and other things planned. So I think I'll take my chance during the education session for 15 minutes and speak more about what is the plan for the club this year. So thank you so much. And off to you, Nishad. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nishad. Now I have taken VPM role. As a VPM, my responsibility is bring new guests and to handhold guests to become member and retaining current club members. and I will do my best during the year. Over to you, Toastmaster Shannon.
Thank you. Now going to the VPPR, Nadu.
Thank you, DTM Shannon. I will be the VPPR for Humoroids Club for 2021-2022. And yes, we have a lot of PR activities lined up in the queue. And also we have the PR awards. Awards has been already declared. I mean, what the sections that has been already declared. So definitely I will need a lot of support from all our humoroidians to compete on all of them. And yes, we will start our PR activities soon. And as I told, I'm expecting all the support from you guys. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And I'm not a DTM. I should be, but I'm not. This is Toastmaster.
Right.
Okay, next, Amina, what will you be doing?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Amina, and I'll be the secretary for this year. As secretary, I'm supposed to take down the meetings of the XCOM meetings. To take down the minutes of the XCOM meetings and the club meetings. And I will do my best to fulfill my role properly.
Thank you so much. Next, our money man, Treasurer Gada. You're muted.
Thank you so much, DTM Shannon. Myself, Gaurav Mittal, and I am the treasurer for year 2021-22, and I will be handling all the renewals and inducting of new members toward the system and manage the money affairs. That would be the prime objective, to take care of finances and taking accounts of all membership renewals and activities related resources, arranging the funds and allocating the funds, and prepare the Excel sheet and show up in the last how the money goes. And this is what under my domain, and I am really sure that I will do this activity fairly and uphold the culture of Toastmaster Club, Humoroid Toastmaster Club. Thank you so much. Over to you, DTM Shannon.
I'm not a DTM. I'm really getting embarrassed tonight. I should be a DTM, but I'm not. Okay, Sergeant of Arms, Naveed.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shannon. My name is Naveed Mughal. I am Sergeant at Arms for the year 2021. So I think my main role and the primary objectives will be start when the meeting will be gonna live and physical. But I will be in touch with the team for the any other coordinations and for the smooth learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And then I think we've got the immediate past president, Snila, but I don't see her attending now. Her role in ESCOM is to kind of guide us and be there as a reference person, as an advisor to, to help us get through the year, to transition from last year to this year. So there you have the incoming club officers. Please give every one of us a round of applause. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, any comments, these are the people to contact. Okay, so Hadi, if you can go ahead and unpin the club officers. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to, I'll call on the Toastmaster of the evening to start her role. But before I do that, I was just remembering when I met Shuchita. And I remember it was way before DTAC 2009. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I remember going up to Abu Dhabi, I don't know, 2004, 2005, I don't know, 2006. It was long, it was before DTAC 2009. And I remember, boy, this woman is really organized. She was, she took me into the meeting, and then she was in control. With that introduction, Toastmaster Shuchita, please guide us on our way. Thank you.
Thank you, President Shannon. That was a memory from long time ago. Those are the things which really bind you to Toastmasters. Yesterday, me and Dave, we were in an inception meeting and we were remembering all these things because we were telling to the newcomers or the new Toastmasters who just started that club in Alderways, why is it so important to be in Toastmasters and why people stay in Toastmasters throughout the sheer number of years few of us are here, why we are here. It's so very important. And then let's begin with the theme for tonight, which is stories. So stories, when we say stories, what comes to our mind? Stories, we all know stories. We have been listening to stories. We have been hearing stories. We have been telling stories, but importantly, we all have been influenced by stories. So how do you define story? It's a narrative, either true or fictitious, in prose or verse, designed to interest, amuse, or instruct the hearer or reader, which is also called as a tale. Now, why do you think the stories connect? As per the Harvard Business Publishing Corporate Learning, stories convey the culture, history, and values that unite people. Isn't it so true? They build familiarity and trust and allow the listener to enter the story where they are. Now, this point is very, very important for me as a reader, because when I read a story, or when I'm listening to a story being narrated, I have the freedom to picturize it. The imagery is mine. I have the control over the scenes that have been played out in my mind. And that is very important for me. It is maybe different for every individual, but for me, to visualize and own that scene is very, very important. And that is when the true story connects with me. Now, stories are more engaging than a dry recitation of data points or a discussion of abstract ideas. This is very true, especially in a business setting. When you give just state bullet points about what is happening or what the club culture is and things, but instead of that, those same dry points, if you could formulate it into a story, weave it in a story, people are going to get motivated. They are really going to get impressed, because when you introduce characters into those stories and say that, okay, this man, this so-and-so, maybe he has been felicitated for as the man of the month or the employee of the month. And then you bring in the story as to how he achieved the success in one particular project. It becomes more interesting. People are going to take away the lessons about his challenges, about the way he overcame them, and then how he achieved the success. So you see, the stories always connect and they grab your attention. Stories always stick. They are easy to remember. Long after the narration is over, the meeting is over, or the moment is over, the stories still are there with you. You relate to them, and that is why you remember them throughout. Even one word, many years down the lane, you can quickly recollect the incident and the story when it was narrated. And just as a flash, it goes out in front of your eyes as if it just happened yesterday. And all of this makes so much more sense, especially when your evaluators and mentors insist upon personal anecdotes in your speeches. Haven't we all come across this? Personal anecdotes, yes, very, very important. So how do you incorporate that into your scripts, as in speeches, or even during table topics, which is an impromptu session? The incidents or the stories have to be formatted into a proper organized structure and then embedded in your scripts, because then that adds value and really elevates your speech to a different level. Now for that, we need to understand some few elements of a good story. Now remember, this is a story that we are talking about. Later on, when we understand very briefly the elements of good story, we will see how we can use them to script out our personal anecdote. All right? So what are the elements of a good story? Premise. What is a premise? Premise sets up the location where the characters, the incidents, and the circumstances all plays out in that premise. Then comes the plot. So what is a plot? Plot is nothing but a sequence of events that makes up the action of your story. It progresses chronologically from an inciting incident. Inciting means the moment that incident occurs or something which triggers off a chain of events. And then it rises to action, to a climax, and then spills over into action, which is a falling action, and then the resolution. This is the way the plot has to be built. Then comes the important factor, which is characters. Characters are so very important to your stories. Characters, they bring out life. With characters, you can identify as to what is happening in the story. So when you describe the character, it is very, very important just not to list out the facts, maybe the appearance or things, but bring out the essence. So for example, when you say that a portly gentleman was walking down the street, or he was the village bum, but he made everybody's business his own business. So when you narrate this, building up one particular character, what happens is you start visualizing it, how that man would be, how that potbelly might be coming out, the way he would be walking down the street, literally poking noses in everybody's business. And by that, we just start building up on the character and start relating to the scene which is happening around. And then there is an anticipation as what is going to happen next. So characters infuse life into your stories. They reveal emotions and hence it connects and brings out the life in the story. Then comes the next important element, that's the conflict. Now, what is the conflict? It's not always the adversity, but most often it shows how the character transforms through the challenge. But the story has to describe what they are going through, including emotions, the context, and the changes in the understanding. The character, when you put the conflict across, it brings out the story's essence and why the character acts in that particular way. Could be a negative, could be a positive. But then you truly understand and then empathize maybe with the character. Then comes the resolution. How did the character change? Having gone through that adversity, what changes occurred and how the story ended? It could be happy ending or a sad ending, but the context and the emotion is very important for the audience or the reader or the listener of the story. Then there are a few other elements like prose. Prose is nothing but the vocabulary or the phrasing of sentences or the way you write or bring out the essence or bring out the concept of your entire theme in the words that you write. That is the prose. And one of the other important elements is theme. Theme is nothing but the central idea of a story around which the characters and the scenarios play out. So theme, please do not confuse it with the moral or the ending of the story. That could be different, but the theme is something around which the entire story is built up. So you see, having gone through this few elements of what a good story constitutes of, we come to the most important thing to ponder upon, the personal anecdotes. Now, do you think in our scripts, which is as short as 7 minutes, do we have time to incorporate all of these? Well, not all of them, but some of them for sure. So which are the points that you are going to include in your script? It could be the characters. Characters have to be described. Now, don't devote paragraphs to describing your character because it's just a short 7-minute speech. So if you're introducing character or 2 characters, 3 characters, just quickly describe so that the image is formed in the minds of the listeners and then they can visualize. That imagery is so important. So add descriptive words, short descriptive words to describe your characters. Then the incident aligned to the purpose of the speech. Now, when you're describing the characters, naturally you're going to narrate some incident, some event, or some story. That story has to be aligned to the purpose and the message of your script. Once you do that, naturally, the credibility of your speech is elevated to some other level. So you see the importance of having an organized format and of a personal anecdote and why it should be there incorporated in your scripts. Well, having learned, not exactly learned, but having gone through a few elements, I hope you have picked up some. We are just going to do a small short exercise just to have some fun, to build up a story. Now, you need not be stressed out and remember every element and try and incorporate it. First and foremost, what we're going to do is a quick round robin, wherein we are all going to get engaged and then build up the story, right? So I will explain how things will move. I will just shift everybody to gallery view so that everybody is visible. Do we have the timer in place? Timer, Vikas?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So hi,
Very good
Vikas,
evening.
what we will be doing is when a speaker starts speaking, you just have to time them for 30 seconds. At the end of 30 seconds, just display the red light. The moment the red light comes in, I will call on another speaker. All right? So your job
30
is
seconds.
30 seconds. Yeah. All right. So people, here is what we are going to do. We are going to play round robin. Okay. So I will be giving a start of a story, and we will have to build up on that story and bring it to a logical conclusion. Right. So I will call out the names of the speakers. The speaker then has to start speaking and carry the story forward. For example, if I give a start and call on to Dev as the first speaker, so he will start speaking and build up the story for 30 seconds. Then I will say call out Amina. Then Amina has to pick up the story from where Dev has left and try to build up that story for 30 seconds. Similarly, I will call on each and everyone, and everybody has to contribute something to the story. Just try to remember you can bring in the place, the person, the plot, maybe the conflict, and then the resolution. The last man who comes in has to conclude the story, possibly to a logical end. So are we ready? Let's see how we are going to build up the story. All set? Everyone ready? Timer ready? Great. So here's the story. Here's how it starts. And my first speaker will be Dave. The story starts this way. Once upon a time, there was a green monkey who lived on the banks of a yellow river. Once upon a time, there was a green monkey who lived upon the banks of a yellow river. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita. So a green monkey who lived on the banks of a yellow river had a problem. He felt that his life was sort of monotone. So he decided that his life should become a bit more colorful. So he went and purchased a pair of red trousers. So there you had a monkey in a red trousers sitting on the banks of a yellow river, and he was pretty happy. And that's when a fellow monkey appeared and said, "Hey, from where did you buy those red trousers? Could I have one too? Because my life is also very monotone." Did somebody say something?
No, carry
30
on.
seconds.
30 seconds means you have to display the light, please, so the speakers know.
Okay.
All right. So Dave, your last sentence was monkey coming in and asking for the...
Could I have another pair too?
Okay. Next speaker is Amina.
Hi. So they both become really good friends, and they find another monkey that's really evil. He has everything. So they desire to spoil his life because he has everything, and they set out to do so. They first spoil all his books. They bully him, and then they end up becoming the mean people. And they realize that he's actually a good person, and he doesn't have any friends because...
Okay, next speaker is Neha. Because don't say anything.
Sorry, Shuchita, I can't see the red light thing. If you can just help me with that.
Okay, hold. We will just continue with this. I will display the red light, no problem. And we can move forwards. Okay, so next speaker is Neha.
So after they kept bullying him, they realized that he was a good person, like Amina said, and then they became friends. However, the tree that they lived on was a blue tree, and which has white fruits. So these monkeys used to eat these white fruits from that blue tree. It was a very weird kind of a tree because the leaves were blue, but the trunk was pink in color. And they were wondering how, because that was not their natural habitat, and they were wondering how this happened because before when they lived, or their parents had to. Okay.
She has.
Okay, so one day when the two monkeys who were bullying the third monkey found that he was actually a nice person,
Sorry. Sorry, yeah.
they all decided to make it up and go on a field trip together. And on the way to the field trip, they happened upon this strange tree with blue trunk and pink leaves. And they wondered to themselves, why is everything so colorful in this world? First we had the yellow river, and then we had the red pants, and now the blue tree. Is something going on? Are we in a dream? That's when the first monkey scratched his head and thought, okay, this story has been getting weirder and weirder from the beginning.
Mohammed Bashir, next speaker.
Yeah, another monkey was, on the scene, and he saw, one more monkey who was in a pink dress. So he fell in love with that monkey, and he wanted to marry. So he approached the parents of that pink, dress monkey, but the parents were, against the color that this monkey was wearing. That color was, in fact, red.
Sunita.
After all this thing happening about proposing to the monkey with the pink dress, they all got tired living in that particular place with the yellow river. So they had heard something like called a city, and they had heard of something like a lockdown, saying that people have stopped being on the roads and they have started remaining in their houses. So they said it is the best time now to start walking towards the city. And that's how these four monkeys, the one who was in love with that monkey and the other two monkeys and the bullying monkey, I think there were four monkeys altogether. They all started walking towards the city. And that's it.
Chit.
Yeah, so these monkeys, having decided to, investigate this sudden occurrence that, all their natural habitat had been clear, no humans had visited them in so long, they decided to explore and cross the boundaries of the forest and go into the territory where the humans earlier were to explore. And then they see that, no one's on the roads, everyone is wearing masks. So they wonder why this is happening, and they go inside the buildings. They try to, figure out what the cars are.
Gaurav. You are muted.
After watching everybody, no one is there on the road, and there is a lockdown in the entire city. All four monkey rejoiced and thought, let's make kumbaya. And they started dancing in the middle of the road because this town become like their own town. And they have made a pact that we will enjoy this our lifetime and will do whatever we wish because no one there on the road to stop them.
Nadil.
So the four monkeys reached the city, and the pink monkey was so fascinated seeing the city with a lot of shops. The pink monkey were always constrained to the colors that she had seen in the forest, but here with the window shopping, she sees so many different colors, and she tells to her lover that, okay, I am not going to come back to the jungle anymore. I am very much happy with the wide range of colors and the varieties that I see in the city. Then they soon start having a rift between each other. They are not at all happy. I mean, the other monkeys wanted to go back to the jungle. Yeah.
Nishad.
All these monkeys went to a big city, and they noticed that in the city there is no more people because of the lockdown. Everybody is sitting inside the home, and the monkeys thought in the city there is no people. They go to the shopping mall. Even shopping mall, nobody is there. All the shops are closed, and they were thinking that it's better than live in city. We'll go back to the jungle. Then they decided to go back to the jungle.
Okay. Dr. Katrak.
Am I the last?
No, you're not. We
Okay.
have Shannon, Hadi, yes.
Okay, so this is a very unfortunate story in which it is proved in which a monkey which is wearing a green dress suddenly becomes, wearing a pink dress suddenly becomes a pink monkey. And the thing is, I'm feeling so bad, but I thought only this character was there in human beings, but always the problem is created by the female sex. Even in this, the pink monkey was the one who wanted to go back, stay back, and the other three wanted to go ahead. And she caused a lot of dispute. Hopefully, this dispute should not go further, and all the monkeys go back to where they belong, which is in the forest.
Naveed.
Yeah, definitely when the dispute is ongoing. So on the meanwhile, the red wearing pant monkey already fell in love with the pink monkey. So yeah, her feelings are exciting more and more, while he want to more, just want to buy the more things for her. But unfortunately, because of lockdown, everything is closed, and his feelings are he's getting more pressure, and he discussed with other sorry, it's fine, thank you.
Thank you, Naveed. Hadi.
Yeah, the monkey who fell in love with the pink monkey thought about going in to propose to a family. This time he wore an actual blue pants to try his best in getting her family to accept him. And plus, he also wore a hat this time, a pinkish hat to match the pink monkey that he fell in love with. So going to his parents, we're going to have parents with this outfit. He thought he'd get a yes, and they had to think about what to answer him, either yes or maybe. But their love was amazing. They had a great journey. Over to you.
Finally, Shannon, if you can make some head or tail, bring it to an end, please.
But the thing is, the Yellow River is in China. The red trousers represent the color of the Chinese flag. All these different colored monkeys attracted people to grab the monkeys and sell them in the markets. And when the people went to go to the markets, they bought the monkeys to cook them. And that's how COVID-2 started. It's a very sad story, but that's how COVID-2 started. The end.
Thank you, everyone. Just a second, yeah. All right, so that was a weird story build-up from one monkey we went to 4 monkeys, each wearing different color pants. Somebody fell in love in between. Then somebody had to say that it is all because of the female monkeys. But all in all, the entire monkey business came to an end and ended in a pandemic, which is very sad. But then yes, we had a kind of a story which was built up. So with that, let's get back to the business of the evening, and that is the introduction of the role players who will be helping me to run this meeting further. So my first role player is our timer. Toastmaster Vikas?
Yes, Toastmaster Shuchita.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't receive the information from you. So quick questions to you. Can you
Sure.
give me your full name and the place where you work?
My full name, okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vikas Birla. I'm a qualified chartered accountant by profession and working for an investment company in Abu Dhabi. I've been in UAE for almost like 14 years plus. So it's a long time in UAE. I started my career in Dubai and then moved to Abu Dhabi. In terms of my hobbies, investments in all kind of structures and investment portfolios available around the globe.
Sorry to interrupt, Toastmaster Vikas.
Yes, Shuchita.
Okay, we need a very brief intro. We will have your intro at the end of the meeting again.
Okay, sure.
All right. So
Thank you.
In just one sentence, can you tell me which is your favorite story? As a child, maybe you had a favorite story. Just tell me the name of the story. Any story.
Any story must be the monkey one, which I just heard.
Monkey business. Good. And you are from finance. Good one. Anyway, can you please explain your role?
Today I will be the timer. My red light and green lights and those things are not appearing for some reasons, but I'll get it fixed. So as the business moves and everybody in this era is very busy, timing is most important. So every speaker will be given certain time and they need to finish their the speech within that allotted time. So my job will be to see if everybody does their job within the time or exceed the time. Hopefully everybody will finish within the time and all of the Toastmaster will enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas. That was a very extensive explanation of your role. Thank you. Now we move on to our next role player, our accountant, Toastmaster Nadal. He works as an assistant manager IT for Al Hilal Bank. And his favorite story? Once upon a time, I was so lean and skinny. There was a very famous person named Thita Rappai, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, in
It's
Kerala.
Thita Rappai, yeah.
Thita Rappai. Okay, you have to tell me what it is. He inspired me a lot by showing that our body has no limits when it comes to having food. Following his records made a huge transformation in me. So, Toastmaster Nadal, who is this Thita Rappai?
And it's Thita Rappai, but we have to pronounce it as Thita Rappai. He has so much of records for having maximum amount of food. Like he participates in these eating competitions.
Oh, I mean, he's for real?
Yeah, he's for real. Yes,
oh,
he's for real. And then he used to participate in a lot of competitions, eating competitions, basically. So he's the one who showed us that our body doesn't have any limits when we have the food.
Fantastic. Great. Nice story. So can you please explain your role?
Yes, my role for tonight is, my role is as the R counter, is to note any overused words or filler sounds by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate, such as and, well, but, and, then sounds may be or. So I'll be taking account of all this from the speakers and all the role players, and I'll be giving a report at the end of the meeting. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nadal. Our next role player is our wordmaster and grammarian. He is our new Toastmaster who will be taking up the role. He is none other than Toastmaster Shihaz. He was a former assistant manager forensics at EY Sri Lanka. Presently, he is in UAE looking for a job. And the book or the story that he likes the most is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. He says that it was inspired by his love for fantasy as a child and went on to define his interests in life. Toastmaster Shihaz. So one favorite character from the Chronicles of Narnia.
You can't really say that there's one favorite character. It's more about the theme and everybody in there, because the main story is about these 4 siblings and they travel to this magical land called Narnia. And then the theme of
but I asked you, there has to be one character which appeals to you from that. So just the name.
I really can't pick one like that. But then I would say Lucy, the younger sister, because she's the first one to find the magical land. And
correct.
Follow her around.
Awesome. Can you please explain your role?
So good evening, everybody. My role today is your grammarian and wordmaster. So my role has 2 parts. My first responsibility is to pay close attention to all the speakers and to listen carefully to their language usage. So I will be noting any misuse of the English language, wherever there are mistakes made or where the words are pronounced incorrectly. And at the same time, I will also be noting outstanding usage, where you use words or phrases that are really excellent in the English language. And further, as a grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And would I be able to share my screen, Zoom Master? I have a small slide to share.
You can share now.
Thank you. So today's word of the day, in keeping with today's theme of stories, I thought anecdote would be a good word to try to incorporate into our speeches today. So anecdote. The definition of anecdote is basically a short or amusing or interesting story about a real incident or person. An example would be, he told anecdotes about his job. Also, you can say that an anecdote is a story that is not really true, but you're just telling it to entertain. For example, somebody talking about giant spiders or butterflies. It's a tall tale, in other words. So when using in your speeches, what you can do is the word anecdote basically means story, a tale, narrative, or sketch. So if you can try to use this word anecdote in your speeches today, and I will make a note of it, and in my report at the end of the meeting, I will mention how many times it's been used. Over to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Shihaz. And with that, let's move on to the thought of the evening. None other than the VP Education, who will put some thoughts in our minds. Toastmaster Neha Musab. She's a freelancer for IELTS and a French trainer. And her favorite story, The Lion and the Mouse, Aesop's fable. So Toastmaster Neha?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
The lion or the mouse? Who's your favorite?
I think the mouse is my favorite.
Why?
Yeah, because the lesson or the moral of the story comes from the mouse. I'm sure everybody's heard the story where the lion gets trapped and the mouse helps the lion to, get rid of the trap. So this is the mouse who tells that, we should never underestimate a power of somebody, or we should never undermine someone by their size or what they do. Because when it's time for the lion to, help the mouse, he says, the mouse says, I'll help you someday. And he's like, what can you do for me? Like, you are a little tiny small creature. And that is often things that we do in life even now as we grow up. I think I've understood the importance of the story more when I grew up, because we undermine people's capacity to do something, but we are always surprised when we give them a chance. So I think we should never, question somebody's ability to help us or their power to do something good for us.
Very quickly, when you see yourself in the mirror, you will see the lion or the mouse?
I think I'll see the mouse.
Fantastic. Right, over to you. Thank you.
Great, so story. So I'll start with, once upon a time, there was an elephant, a very small elephant, and its trainer used to tie one of its legs with a rope to a post. As a small elephant, it tried to get rid of it. He struggled for hours and hours, but he couldn't. He realized that the struggle was useless, and he couldn't get rid of the rope. He couldn't break the rope. So what happened was, when he grew up, he was tied to the same rope. But he never tried breaking that rope again. Why? Why? Because he learned something that we call as learned helplessness. He told this story to itself over and over again that I cannot get rid of this rope, and hence it never tried to break it even further. As a huge elephant, it would have been very easy for that creature to break the rope even with a small pull, but it did not try. And this is something that we do in our lives as well. There are certain things or a lot of things that we once did and we thought that we are not good at it, so hence we never tried. There's a quote by an American author. He says, "Who are we but the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves and believe?" This is by Scott Turow. He says, we are a result, or our life is a result of the stories that we tell ourselves. So why not tell ourselves better stories? So the next time you think of saying yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable enough of doing something, or I don't have this because somewhere, sometime in your life, this did not work, tell yourself a better story, and I'm sure your life will be better. So thank you so much. Off to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neha. That was a wonderful talk. Learn helplessness. Fantastic. Now we move on to the most important role of the evening. The roast master is none other than our Dr. Mezaban Katrak. He's a consultant surgeon at NMC Specialty Hospital, and his favorite story is Zoom Master. Can you please display his favorite story? So,
The
Dr.
Lion and the
Katrak,
Mouse.
very quickly, the title of your story.
Lion and the Mouse.
Okay, please introduce us to the Lion and the Mouse.
I don't think anybody will disagree with this story. You actually need my real story?
Thank you, Toastmaster Hadi. Toastmaster Katrak, yes, very quickly, just define who's the lion and who's the mouse. You are here, you are free to say the real thing, no problem.
You see this mug?
Yes,
I
we
use
do.
it when my wife is not at home. I think you got my answer.
Thank you. Can you please explain your role?
Okay. My role as a roast master is to talk about, it is more just like the general evaluator, but a sweeter version of general evaluator in which you entertain the audience with the general evaluation. You roast the people a bit. I've been trying to find out, I'm writing pages. I'm on page number 3 by now about what each person has spoken about, and I will be discussing about it at the end of the meeting. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Katrak. And you're going to be the roast awesome. And one important person who has this power to kick us out at the flick of a button, we need to acknowledge him. He's none other than Toastmaster Hadi, our Zoom master. He is known as Toastmaster Hadi Ali. He works for Tabreed as a HSC manager, and his favorite story is The Outsiders. Toastmaster Hadi, can we at least see you?
1 minute.
Awesome. One character, or what is the story about? I didn't get the author, so
It's about
very,
a
very
community.
briefly.
It's about a community that supports each other, even though if you're in trouble as a member, and the other members of the community supports you and helps you, even if you're down.
Oh, that's nice. And who's the author?
I'm not sure about the author. I read it a long time ago in 2002.
Oh, it's too. See, the stories connect, the stories stick. Fantastic. So can you briefly, how do you relate that story to your role today?
I'm the head of this community. Basically, I'm
Okay.
head of this meeting. I manage the meeting as it's online.
Fantastic. Well related, well conceived. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hadi. And with that, let's move to the core strength of our meeting. And that is the prepared speeches. So for our first speech, it will be given by Toastmaster Naveed. But before that, may I call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Sunita, to read out the objectives, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita. Today, Toastmaster Naveed is doing his level 2, project 2, which is effective body language. And the purpose of this project is to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how he can use nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. Best of luck to you, Toastmaster Naveed. And over to you, Toastmaster Shuchita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunita. Timer, Toastmaster Vikas, can you give us the timing rules for the project?
5 minutes as the green one, maximum to 7 minutes is the total timing for the.
Are you able to display the lights 5, 6, 7?
Yes.
So at 5 minutes, yes. And at 6 minutes and at 7 minutes, the 7 minutes, it will remain on till the speaker finishes speaking. But you have to clock it for 30 seconds, grace is given. Okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Fine. Can you switch off the light, please? Switch off. Thank you. So Toastmaster Naveed, he will be giving his project number 2 from Presentation Mastery. The path is called as Presentation Mastery. And the title of the speech is Life is Like a Roller Coaster. Life is like a roller coaster. Toastmaster Naveed, the screen is all yours.
Life is like a roller coaster. It has the ups and downs, but it's your choice to scream or enjoy the ride. Warm greetings to our visionary president. Good afternoon to fellow Toastmasters and our cheerful guests. I am excited to have an opportunity to deliver my Level 2 Project 2 speech on the theme of Life is like a roller coaster. Let me introduce myself, and today I will take you to the ride of roller coaster to share dark and bright sides of my personal and professional life. Fellow Toastmasters, my name is Naveed Mughal, and by profession, I am supply chain professional with 14 years experience, and I did not choose this profession consciously. Everything is done unconsciously. I have always been proud to tell my story of my life. Until my matriculation, life was beautiful and full of eases. I am the last of all my siblings in my family, but unfortunately, no member of our family was literate. I am proud to share with you my father was also an uneducated, but was running his own business of electric fans spare parts. He always talked to me, my son, I don't know what kind of education you have to study, but it's my great desire and I really want you to study. And these were the words that were most precious to me. And trust me, that was the first and only pathway for me. My forefathers' village was very far from the city and lacks many amenities and inclusive transportations, health, even schools as well as. And it was very hard time after end up schooling to reach college daily. And that's why I decided to stay in city with my relatives to save the time and energy wasting in traveling. But on the other side, it was also challenging to stay in relatives' home, and I was quite dubious that I will be able to continue. After my intermediate exams, my father was suffered with some diseases, and because of illness, was our business was closed, and then the roller coaster of life took me down, and that was the challenging time to even survive. My father was on bed, I was student, and my elder brother income was not enough to feed the family and to bear the expense of my studies. But he supported me as much as he could. But in spite of these difficulties, I did not give up and decided to continue my studies. After returning from college, I taught tuitions to children and at different times. And then until late night, I was sitting up for my own studies. And then with all these difficulties, I completed my graduation. There were a lot of difficult situations in between when I was thinking of quitting studies, but I did not give up and completed Bachelor in Commerce in parallel all of these challenges. But story was not finished here, and my life roller coaster was still going down. My father died after my graduation. Then, instead of pursuing education, I preferred to do any small job, and I started my professional career as an assistant accountant in one of the manufacturing company in Pakistan. Then after that, I worked very hard in that company, even some part-time jobs as well, and made my journey from assistant accountant till export manager, and also made a lot of money by doing jobs and some sort of side businesses. Then I bought my land in city and built my own house for my family by myself. Because in the company where I supposed to go, I reached. Now the growth was stopped. Then I decided to relocate and came to UAE. First of all, I am grateful to my Allah, and after that, I am my friends who supported me to find the job. And now I am working as supply chain manager in medical equipment supplies company since 5 years. So my fellow Toastmasters, I will conclude my speech on the note that even though life is a roller coaster, just handle every bump that comes your way. You will survive. Just hold on, because after a dark night, a bright morning is always waiting for you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naveed. Well, that was one honest story of resilience. Thank you, Toastmaster Naveed. And he introduced himself. Please give it up to our supply chain manager from Format Medical Supplies. Great story, Toastmaster Naveed. And very quickly, can you just share which is your favorite story?
My favorite story in life is like you can say the hunting of you. I will relate the story with myself. The remember thirsty crow was hunting from here to in search of water. So honestly, it is I will relate this story to myself. I really like it. For your when you are striving and when you are struggling to achieve your goal, and it is a very proud moment when you achieve after your strive. Thank you.
Fantastic. May you find ponds and oceans of success ahead. Thank you so much. So before we move on to our next speaker, I do believe we have two guests here. So very quickly, can we have introductions? We have a guest, Imran. Can you please quickly introduce yourself, your name, and who introduced you to the club, where you work?
Hi, good evening. My name is Imran Yunus. Yes, Mr. Naveed Mughal introduced me in this club. I'm also supply chain manager in medical company industry. We have the same industry.
Okay.
And I'm been a medical supply chain manager since 11 years. And I'm based in Dubai, JVT. Thank you.
Welcome to the club. Welcome. Nice to have
It's
you
a
with
pleasure.
us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome. And Hajira, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everybody. So this is Hajira. Miss Sunita, she introduced me to the group. So we both are colleagues. Have just joined recently Al Mayur Private School. So happy to be here. Good to see people taking part and sharing the stories. So it's been good experience so far. So the red robin was again a good thing. I mean, I was contemplating the story to turn it to be like this or like that, or something. But I mean, everybody have their own perspectives and how they actually take the story. So it was fun on the whole to look into the whole process of how the Toastmasters actually takes place. Thank you.
Looks like the TME is stuck.
Hello, was it audible or?
Yeah,
Yes.
Hajira, we could hear you clearly. I think Shuchita is stuck.
Okay.
You're okay now, Shuchita. You're okay now. The microphone is muted.
I got disconnected. Sorry, good to be back. So where did I got disconnected? Hajira was speaking and did I get disconnected between?
Yes.
All right, okay. I'm sorry, Hajira, but a very warm welcome to the Humoroids meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. So we move on to our next speaker. And our next speaker is DTM Devlal Sahadevan. He's a co-founder and lead learning consultant at Toptovid. And his favorite story is Mr. Know All. Toastmaster Dev, a little bit about your favorite story.
My favorite Toastmaster, sorry, what am I saying? Favorite storyteller has got to be O. Henry. I like all the short stories by O. Henry. But this one particular story is not by O. Henry, it is by Somerset Maugham, called Mr. Know All. A story about values, culture, prejudice, love. It's one of my favorite stories. If you get a chance, look it up.
Sure do. Thank you. So Toastmaster Dev will be evaluated by Toastmaster Bashir. So may I please invite you to read out his objectives?
Yes. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and guest, Toastmaster DTM Devlal in particular. Good evening, everyone. Toastmaster Devlal is going to deliver his speech on Engage Humor, Level 1, Project 4, Researching and Presenting. The objective of this speech is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Let's give him a big round of applause to start his speech. Toastmaster Devlal is the Prince of Humor. He's a legend. And let's see. Toastmaster Devlal.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I'm sorry. May I take the Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas. Can you please give us the timing rules for his project, please?
Sure. So again, the timing rules are 5 minutes to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, there will be a green buzzer. 6 minutes, there will be a yellow buzzer. And at 7 minutes, there will be a red buzzer. The timing will continue. And at the end of the speech, I will record the actual time and will share with all at due time. Thank you.
Thank you, Timer. Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas. So Toastmaster Dev is giving his project from the pathway called Engaging Humor. It is the Level 1 Project 4. And the title of the speech is How to Be at the Center of the World. How to Be at the Center of the World. DTM Devlal, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita, and good evening, everybody. The Zoom Master, could you please make me a co-host because I may have a slide to share. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that at some point in time we may have felt that sometimes the world is not paying us much attention that we deserve. And a lot of Toastmasters I personally know, they suffer from this problem. They're pretty much convinced that the world isn't giving them enough attention in spite of all that they have achieved. So I'm here to take you through a little process which I believe can help you to place you right in the middle of the earth, in the center of the earth, so that everybody's attention is on you. Okay, and I've been made a co-host, and allow me to share my screen very quickly. For all those who are people struggling with the fact that you haven't had enough attention from the rest of the world, let's see what we can do together. It's just a humble effort. The most important thing I would like to point out is take as many selfies as possible. Now, this may come as a no-brainer to some of you because some of us are such super experts. They are experts in their own right when it comes to taking selfies, but there is still a percentage of the population, especially Toastmaster population, who still haven't taken enough selfies. And do you know how much time are you wasting? If you haven't got enough attention as yet, it is because you haven't taken enough selfies. And for those who feel that you already know everything about selfies, allow me to refresh your memories. Maybe this session can help you up your selfie game by a few notches. First of all, I would like to bust a few myths when it comes to taking selfies. A lot of people will tell you, a lot of the so-called experts will tell you that it is all about location, location, and location. But the truth is, location is immaterial. It just doesn't matter if it is a selfie. All you have to do is just go ahead and take a selfie. When I refer a website called backlight.com, that particular website said, your location is important because it matters how much light do you have. I mean, what's the problem in taking a dark selfie? It is called as a dark selfie for a reason. So forget about how much time do you actually need in terms of selfie. That's not really that important. All it matters is the real intention behind it. So please go ahead and take a selfie irrespective of wherever you are and how much time you have. The second thing, look at that. Now this person is out there in the open. There is enough and more sunlight around them, right? So all that matters is that whether you are inside or you are outside, if you are in the middle of things that are happening around you, If something is going on, if it has to be in your background, it doesn't matter. What matters is your intention. Are you there in the right spot at the right time? So whether it is in the early morning, the wee hours of the day, in the middle of the night, take selfies. Satisfy your quench for thirsties irrespective of the location and the light. Moving on. The angle. Once again, I did my research, and Financial Express on the 17th of May 2021 at 12:50 a.m. published an article, and according to that, you always have to hold your camera. If it's a mobile phone or whatever, it's got to be above your head. But look at this photograph. Where is the camera? It's definitely not above your head. It is above somebody's head, but it is definitely not above. So once again, when it comes to angle, go ahead, experiment. The world out there is waiting for you to express your creativity at your incredibly ingenuine, unique camera angles, and leave it for the rest of the world to enjoy, satisfy, and maybe give you some opinions. So once again, an angle, who cares? Here's a great example. Do you see that there is a nice little photograph there? This is a photograph taken during somebody's birthday. And from social media, you will come across a lot of these kind of photographs taken by people, especially, for example, say Toastmasters Sunita's birthday. I'm going to post a picture of Toastmaster Sunita, okay? But I'll make sure that this particular person is me, okay? And where is Toastmaster Sunita in the picture? Right there. So it doesn't matter. I mean, the intention is what matters. Maybe I am there in the middle of the photo, and I've got, the limelight, but that's all right. Sunita is also there on that photo. I have thought about her, and that thought is what that matters. Moving on, the purpose of a selfie. Now, a lot of people would say, why do you take a selfie? Once again, who cares? The purpose is irrelevant. The purpose is that I want to be there in the photo. I want to take a selfie, and that's about it. If you look at this photo, you may not understand what exactly is going on, but that's the problem with the person who's looking at the selfie. Your brain is incapable of wrapping itself around the concept of a selfie, which is why I keep asking these kind of silly questions. So once again, the purpose doesn't really matter. So for example, look at this photograph. Did you think that this person came up with a title or tagline calling Serve Earth? And you may wonder, oh, what's the purpose of this selfie? You just bought a suit, a man, a woman, I don't know, something in between. But the title of the photo is this, Save Earth. And you know why you're not convinced? You don't realize that over there is a wooden coat hanger. And that is made of wood. It's very eco-friendly. It's not plastic. Now you see the connection between the title and the photograph. So that's all that matters. What is important is the selfie that you want to take, the selfie that is just bursting out of the creative energy that is so pent up inside you. That is important. In 2013, there was a study conducted by University of Birmingham, and it said that the photographs taken by people, especially between the age of 18 and 24, they have lower level of social support, they suffer some kind of low levels of intimacy, etc., and they apparently take more than 30% of their photographs as selfies. But you know what I would say? Even these facts do not matter. Whether you belong to the age of 18 to 24 or 104, take those selfies, satisfy that quench. Go ahead, take another one tonight. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Devlal. That really was an in-depth analysis of how, why, and the important part, the selfie being the center of attention or the center of the world. Fantastic. Timer, may I call upon you to give us the timing report? The time taken by two speakers, please.
Thank you, TM Shuchita. Wonderful speeches from both the speakers. Toastmaster Navid taken 5 minutes 2 seconds. Toastmaster Devlal has taken 7 minutes and 3 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So both the speakers qualify, but as decided by the ExCom and the president that we won't be having the poll since we have 2 speakers and 2 evaluators. So great thought there. Moving on, let's move on for a wonderful session, an education session from none other than our VP Education, Toastmaster Neha. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shuchita. Hadi, could you please make me the co-host? I have a lot of files to share today. Thank you. So very good evening, everyone. I will be walking you through a few Excel and Word documents. Some of them you would be filling it in the days to come. And there are a few things that we decided as the ExCom. Somebody's joining. Okay, just 1 second. So there are a few things that we decided as the ExCom. I would walk you through those, and we will look forward to your inputs on those decisions. And next meeting, it would be, we'll have a business session where we could decide on a common ground that we would have for the things that we've decided. So to begin with, for the new members, I'll just give a very brief information on this. Every year we used to have, like the last year, for example, we used to have the Toastmaster of the Quarter Award and the Toastmaster of the Year Award. This year, we have a few things in place. Let me share my screen with you. Can you all see my screen? Okay, great. So these are the criteria that we have put in place. When you take up a role, you get various points. For example, if you take up a Wordmaster or Grammarian role, you would get 2 points, Thought of the Evening, 2 points, Our Counter, 2 points. Similarly for different roles. And we decided to take off the Best Speaker and Best Evaluator award. And just because the speaker and the evaluator are getting 2 points every time they take up speech or do an evaluation. Considering that there are a lot of new members who've joined us, what we thought was to add 5 points, for example, for every new role that you take up. So today I did the Thought of the Evening, I get 5 points. The next time I take this up, I get only 2. But the next time I take up a timer's role, I get 5 points. So every time you take up that role for the first time, you get 5 points. And this is to encourage all the members to take various roles instead of just taking the same role again and again, because some of them prefer to take one role over the other. So the idea is that everybody gets a chance to take every role, and this would encourage all the members. You could reflect about these points. You could go through this. If you have any inputs, suggestions, ideas, you're more than welcome to drop me an email, WhatsApp message, or call. I will be sharing these files on your email after the meeting today. Then this criteria would be used to decide the Toastmaster of the quarter. So based on the accumulated points from all the meetings, we would decide who is the Toastmaster of the quarter. Another thing that we thought of is about having the Best Role Player Award, which has got nothing to do with the points though, but every meeting we could have a Best Role Player based on the voting. And these role player does not include, for example, the speaker and the evaluators, because they would already be voted through for a competition. Anyways, so these are some roles that I would add the Zoom Master also. So various roles that could get a Best Role Player Award after the meeting through a common vote. I would want your inputs if you would like to have something like this or not, because we have a lot of new members. If they take up their role and they do well, for example, today we have, as I said, 2 new members who've taken up a role. And if they're doing great at their roles, this would be something that would motivate them to go ahead and keep taking roles in the future. So if you have any questions regarding this, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll move to the next sheet. Anyone, if you have a question, please unmute yourself and you can go ahead and ask me.
I feel that the Toastmaster of the day should not, it's Toastmaster evening, 3 points is less. It should be 5 points because the Toastmaster evening really works hard. A grammarian just 2 means 2 points, all of them is fine. But I feel Word, grammarian, all these people, 2 points they are getting. There should be 5 for the Toastmaster day because that person is really working hard, and a speaker should get at least 3. I'm not
Okay.
talking about evaluator. Evaluator is coming last moment. The amount of efforts that a person puts in to become a speaker and the Toastmaster of the day are much more than the efforts a person puts in to become either a roast master, an evaluator, a timer, or anything.
Yeah, that's right, Dr. Katrak. But the idea of, it was 5 points the last year, but the idea of reducing it is because the first quarter, maybe a new role player will not take up TME of the evening. And this will not equalize the points that we are taking to, have the quarter of the Toastmaster of the Quarter award. So that is why I said you can think about or reflect about the whole idea, because if we say 5 points, then maybe first quarter no new member would get those 5 points, because it's only after a couple of meetings that the new
agree.
Toastmaster would take up that role.
No. Yeah,
And
that
this
is
would
quite,
that would be a
we
lot
thought
of
about that point. It's very well thought about. Yeah.
It would increase it would not be equal for a new Toastmaster to compete with the seasoned one in terms of, if we talk about points and competing in awards. That is why I say so this is just to reduce that competition and be fair, give everyone a fair chance.
So then best table topic speaker 4, or do we?
Best table topic speaker, yeah, because TT is something that anybody can participate in.
Okay.
Like as a new member, as a guest, everybody participates in TT, and you have a fair chance to win. You don't have to be a seasoned Toastmaster to win a table topic master, and it's impromptu. Yeah, but as I said, I'll share these files, and any suggestions are welcome. And I would request you to please come up with ideas, because this is what we could think of. If there is something else that you think can be put in or changed, that would be great. Any other questions?
No. But at 2 points to goes to 5 points, that is an amazing idea. So because frankly, there are many people who just take up one role. Now people will start taking up different roles.
Right.
To be honest, I've never been a timer. I've never been a grammarian. I've never done any other of these other roles.
Yes. So I'd like to thank Shannon for this idea, because Shannon had the same opinion.
That's the best idea of everything out here, put out here.
Okay, thank you. So I'll stop sharing the screen, and then we'll move to another file.
Put me as a timer in the next meeting.
5 points to you already, huh?
7 points. 5
7
plus
points,
2.
yes. 5 plus 2, yes. Okay, great. Okay, so the next file is the meeting planner. We have this planner in place with the meeting number, and the dates would be put now before I share this file. For every meeting, you could go and from the drop down, select the role that you would be doing. And this will help us plan and see what roles are taken. So you can plan ahead for the complete year or for whatever meetings you want to take up any role. So today you want to take up, for example, Dev was the speaker today. So we have Dev as speaker. Naveed was one of the speakers. So we have speaker. And I'll be sharing this file. It would be on a Google Drive, shared drive. So everybody who updates it, all of us would be able to see the information that is put on this file. So that I know that for the next meeting, for example, this role has already been taken and I can take up this role depending on my availability. I can do a speech in this meeting or be a TME in this meeting. So you can pick up and choose the role from the drop down here. And the dates and the number of the meeting are here. Any questions on this one? It's easy drop down, but I would request and encourage everyone to fill that because that would be easy. That would make our lives easy for me as VP Education and you as the club, because we know that the roles are taken and we don't have to figure out who's doing what in the next meetings. Are we good with this? Like this? Yes, no? Something? Okay, great. Thank you. So this is one Excel, another sheet. So this Excel has the name of all the club members. What I would request you to do is fill in this information: contact number, email ID, your birthday. You can skip the year or you can write it if you wish to. That I'll leave to your choice. If you're part of any other Toastmaster club, which path have you selected? Some of us have 2 paths, so you could mention name of the 2 paths. How many levels have you completed and how many projects have you completed? If you have a mentor, you would name the mentor. If you have a mentee, you would name the mentee. So the headings of this file are self-explanatory. I have only one request. If you could try and fill this information at the earliest, let's say by the end of this week, it would be good because I will have all my data collated at one place to understand who's at what level, and we can proceed ahead with the goals of the club in general. So that would be a great help if you could fill this in by the end of this week.
Okay, where would this be located?
I will share a link of this. It would also be in the shared drive. So I will share the link of this file on your email. And WhatsApp, for those who do not prefer to use through email, I will send it on WhatsApp and email. So you can check on your phone, or you can fill the information through your computer. Any questions here?
Well, hi Neha. That's the only one thing that I was suddenly reminded of. Every information regarding the club, I would request to be sent through email. I mean, it's convenient when we see it on WhatsApp, but sometimes, you know, we have a lot of conversation on the WhatsApp and we may not see sometimes some of these things shared. So, I mean,
Right.
email is the official
Yes.
mode of communication, right? So everything to be shared.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I will be sharing it on email, but I will additionally put it on WhatsApp. If you want to open the link on WhatsApp and fill it, that's up to you, but it will always be there on your email. So that's one thing. And this also reminds me, for the new ones, for every year you have certain goals. I hope you've selected your paths based on your conversation with your mentors. And if you haven't, then please go ahead and do that. You have certain projects and levels. If for the new ones and the seasoned ones, if you have any goals, I will share another form with that, where you could put in what are your goals for this year, how many levels or projects you want to complete. Do you want to complete one path and move to another? So I would request you to share those also. I'll create a new form and share that. But when I say please mention your goals, the goal is in terms of education plan for this year 2021. No, 21-22. I'm still in 2020. Okay, 21-22. For how many levels of projects you want to do.
Excuse me, Neha, I have one question actually. You know, as a member of two clubs in parallel. Hello?
Yes, I am listening to you, Naveed.
Yeah, actually, as you know, I am the member of two clubs in parallel. So how we will manage in system that you should have the access of in Toastmaster website to complete.
Yes, Naveed, that I will discuss with you after the meeting one-to-one as to how will I go about that. I'll take that up with you personally.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding this Excel? No? Okay, one more file to go. Dr. Katra is writing the roast, but I'll do it quickly. Okay, so the last thing that I want to share is the club calendar. So we came up, oh no, can you see the club calendar? Okay, so we have the club calendar in place. We have COT happening soon. We have the meeting numbers. We have XCOM meeting scheduled. We also plan to have a quarterly outdoor event if situation permits, so that we can all meet and see each other. So the dates are there. We have the dates for the first newsletter release. The club anniversary will be in October, sorry. So then we have another COT coming up in December, XCOM meeting. Dates for the newsletter. Club contest, yes. So we plan to have a club contest in January. That's the 7th. That would be a Friday. These are all tentative dates, and these are all to be reviewed by all of you. So once we review this, I would request you to please review this before the next meeting so that we can come to a common decision. Then we have area division and district contest happening in the month of March, April, and May. And this club officer election towards the end of May. We plan to have a gala dinner before we end this term. And the last meeting would be on the 22nd of June. So I would request you to review these dates. We have tried to see if it doesn't clashes with any holiday and calendars. We've already done that, but if you could review and see if everything is fine. Next, as I said, next meeting, we'll have a business session where we'll finalize all of that to have a plan in place for the coming year. So that's all from my end. No, one more thing. Yes. One more thing. Yes. Very quickly. All the XCOM members, some of the members like VP Education, for example, or VP PR has something called as the subcommittee. This is for the new members where you could be part of the VP Education or the VP PR, just to give you an example of their subcommittee and assist them in what their duties and responsibilities. So if any one of you would be interested, you can please let us know. I will also put a Google form for this, so where you can mention if you are interested for this or not. And if you have any questions, you all have my contact number, so please let me know. Okay, so thank you so much, Shuchita. That's the end. Thank you. Off to you. Thanks a lot. Have a nice evening, everyone. We can't hear you, Shuchita.
Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Neha. That was indeed very well planned year that you displayed. And I really look forward to a very productive year ahead. So all the best to the XCOM. And I really, really hope that we get to meet each other physically and all those exciting events and the anticipated events happening on the chat really do come in. Of course. Great. So with that, let's move ahead to our next session, which is the Twisted Topics. Twisted Topics is something very, very unique to our Humoroids Toastmasters, and we always have fun, especially the table topic or the Twisted Topic Master. And today, our Twisted Topic Master is Toastmaster Sunita, whose graphic introduction I will be giving when she comes in as an evaluator. So over to you, Toastmaster Sunita, very quickly for our table topics.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening once again. This is just for the new Toastmasters, and if any guests are still there, Toastmasters actually want to challenge members to develop their impromptu communication skills, to effectively think on their feet by answering unrehearsed questions or speaking on unrehearsed topics. We also want to give members the opportunity to speak at each meeting, and to do this, we have table topics, and at Humoroids, we also have what is known as twisted table topics. But since our theme of today is Once Upon a Time, and it's about storytelling, I have brought to you some story starters. See, each of us is a storyteller by itself. As kids, we made up stories, I'm sure. At our workplaces, we make up stories. We make up stories even with our partners. I'm sure most of you will agree to that. So it will go like this. To each participant, I will give a story starter sentence, something like round robin what Shuchita did, but we won't go in circles. We'll just have one person speaking. And this starter will ignite your mind and you will get a story coming out. So you could finish your story or in the given time, and or you could end the story, or you could keep it as a part of your story. So before I start, I would request our timer to read out the timing rules for the table topics. Over to you, Toastmaster Vikash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunita. For the table topics, timing will be 1 minute, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
and
1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2 minutes. Sorry. Thanks for the clarification. So 1 minute, you will have the green light and then the yellow light and the red light at the 2 minutes. There will be a 30-second of buffer in case if somebody wants to continue with their stories with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Vikash. So let's begin. Is anyone willing to take a story? I mean, we already had one practice round and we know exactly how stories come up with the introduction given by Shuchita. So is anyone willing, any volunteers, or else I will take names and we'll have to do it. Any volunteers? No. Okay.
I'll jump into the pit then.
Oh, superb. She has. Okay, superb. Let's start with you. Great. So Neha, he gets an extra point. Okay. All right. So Ishihas, here goes your story starter. She opened the letter and it said she'd won $100,000. I repeat, she opened the letter and it said she'd won $100,000. Over to you, Shihas.
She opened the letter and it said she had won 100,000. Was it the dirhams?
Take it as you want.
Okay, $100,000. But she was confused as she had never applied for any contests of the sort. That's when she went back and read the address and the name on the envelope. It wasn't her. It was her husband's ex. But why was a letter coming to this house? As she turned around, she heard the creak of the stairs, as if someone were descending. And before anybody could come down, where she knew her husband was walking down the stairs, okay, she thought somewhere. She heard the creak of the stairs and she stuffed the envelope into her trouser pocket. And she turned and her husband was there, glaring with the gun in his hand. Where's the letter, Margaret? He asked. Where's my letter? She turned around and smiled. What letter? And do you know that you're holding a cigarette lighter? He looked at his hand and looked back at her and said, oh, I forgot. I brought this down from the bedroom. By the way, did you get my letter yet? Done.
I think Sunita is now frozen.
Okay, I was a bit confused there.
Somebody pointed a gun at her.
Yeah.
Sunita, we lost you in between. We lost you in
Yeah,
between.
I
Now
think
it's okay.
I was a Shuchita. I got stuck. So I didn't hear the last bit, but Shihas, that was indeed a juicy story. And if it would continue, it will have more and more cream to it. So thank you. Okay, let's have the second storyteller. Anyone to take it? I think Alas Chit Simran, since he's sitting quietly and hearing. Would you like to take it, Chit Simran?
Sure, I would.
Okay, here goes
Do
your
I get
start.
like sort of 30 seconds or something to think of the topic or not?
Yes. You can take your time. Yes, the time starts from when you begin. Okay.
Okay.
Can I begin? Yeah. So your story starter is, I still remember the day I was born. I still remember the day I was born.
All right, I heard you. Okay, I'll begin now. I still remember the day I was born. All of a sudden, from a dark void, I experienced something that I had never before. It was a blinding flash of light, a kind of whiteness that I, at that point, could not explain, but now understand. And there was nothing that I could make sense of. It was a complete completely alien event to my childish brain at that point of time. And I wasn't able to comprehend anything around me. And the blood and the nurses around made no sense. All I could hear was my own crying over the other sounds in the room. To most people, it would be a superhuman feat to remember something like this, but I still remember the day I was born as if it happened yesterday, with a kind of clarity that would freak anyone out. Yeah, I'm done, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you, Chitsimran. That was deep thought and yes, something to think about. I wouldn't have thought what would I say? This, I had this story. Super, well done. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Now let's go to somebody who would like to take, anyone here who's going to volunteer now? Easy ones. Okay, let me pick our president, Shannon. Here's a story starter for you. The roller coaster had stopped and we were left upside down. The roller coaster had stopped and we were left upside down. Over to you.
Okay, so the roller coaster stopped and we were all upside down. Unfortunately, we had had spaghetti for lunch. And it was like, it was very unfortunate because, you know, the thing is, when you're hanging upside down and you're doing these things, everybody has their camera. They're not concerned that you're really in an unfortunate situation, that the blood is rushing to your head and you could die. They want to see, wow, let's post this on social media that these people are upside down and they're blowing chow. They're blowing the spaghetti out. So, you know, this is really, there's an anecdote here. And there's a lesson. And the lesson is, before you get on a roller coaster ride, don't eat anything colorful. You know, we talked about red, green, pink, blue monkeys, stuff like that. No, nothing with color. Okay, so because you never know when you'll be hanging upside down on a roller coaster, people will be posting pictures and putting it on social media. It's just like, you know, there's this. I remember seeing these pictures on social media. This woman was doing bungee jumping, and she crapped herself. You know, so there she is. Here it is afterwards, and it's all like different color in the back, and it was all over social media. Do any of us want to have that kind of experience? I don't think so. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shannon. Spaghetti. Thank you. Okay, and we'll have one more. Would anyone like to take it up? Or could I ask, I know Dr. Katrak is roasting, so I would ask him to now narrate a story. Dr. Katrak, this is for you. Your starter goes like this. It all started when I accidentally picked up the wrong suitcase at the airport. It all started when I accidentally picked up the wrong suitcase at the airport. Over to you, Dr. Katrak.
Respected Triple Topic Master, Toastmaster Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening to you all. Actually, this is a true incident which took place, that I had a hand trolley, the trolley bag. By mistake, I got a wrong trolley bag home. The reason was that instead of focusing on my trolley bag, I was focusing on the other passengers. She was worth focusing on, so that is why I got distracted and I picked up the wrong bag. When I reached home, I saw there were, and I just opened that bag, there were all these letters and all of some advocate, or he was some judge or something of UAE, this, what's it called? He was a chief judge in the UAE court. And then I had to rush back immediately to the airport, because this, if those people had inquired and found out something on the camera, they was thought that I have stolen that bag or something purposefully to get whatever is the material in this judge's bag. And looking at my face, I was sure they would be convinced that this is someone who would definitely do something wrong. But luckily, I reached the airport and exactly the same bag that individual had. Over to you. I can't see the timer, but I think I never speak less than 1 minute.
No, you're on time, Dr. Katrak. Thank you. So that was a true story. Good for you. Okay, so I think I'm done. Can we have the votings for the table topics, please? If it's possible right now, or we could do it later. Hadi? Okay, thank you. So here's the voting. Let's vote for the best table topic speaker.
Could you please make me a non-co-host, please?
Can I have the lectern, please? Sunita, can I have the lectern, please?
Oh, over to you, Toastmasters. This is funny. Over to you, Toastmasters Shuchita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunita. Right. So since we missed the timers report, everybody's qualified and everybody voted as well. So, but I think everybody was qualified for voting, I suppose. Great. So we move on to our next session, which is evaluations. The speeches will be evaluated. And our first evaluator who will be evaluating Toastmaster Naveed's speech is none other than our table topic or the twisted topic master, Toastmaster Sunita. She is Toastmaster Sunita Pinto, and she works in Mayur Private School as a teacher. And her favorite story, Pride and Prejudice. And favorite fairy tale is Red Riding Hood. So Toastmaster Sunita, before you start off with your evaluations, and do you like the wolf in the Red Riding Hood?
Actually, when I started reading, it was my first story which I read, and of course he was a wicked person. But I think later on, when I got to learn more and more about it, I kind of liked him. I don't know
you
why.
like the wolf?
Yeah, because he had his own reasons to be what he was. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I think we should invite him to Humoroids. Wolves are good. Great. So timer, may I invite you to give us the timing rules, please, for the evaluation session? Toastmaster Vikas.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you please give the timing rules for evaluations?
Yes. It's 5 minutes for...
No, it is 2, 2.5, and 3, if I may say.
Oh, okay. My mistake. 2.5 to 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes, it will be green. And then 3 minutes, it will be red with 30 seconds extra for each evaluator.
All right. So Toastmaster Vikas, it goes this way. At 2 minutes, the green light will be switched on. At 2.5, the amber light will be switched on. And at 3 minutes, the red light will be switched on. The red light will remain switched on till the speaker finishes speaking, and the speaker will get 30 seconds grace. You will be recording the time as per. All right?
Okay, sure.
Great. So over to you, Toastmaster Sunita, for the evaluations.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita. So once again, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and in particular, Toastmaster Naveed. Thank you for that wonderful journey that you took us to. Your speech itself, I think, we could say, was an anecdote. And life is like a roller coaster. We have heard it many a times. You brought it out beautifully by narrating your life, the dark and bright side, speaking about 14 years of your childhood, talking about your profession being an unconscious choice, talking about your family. You spoke about the ups, and then you brought the downs. You narrated it very well, talking about all the problems you faced during your younger days. The roller coaster then took us up once again. You saying professionally you did very well, and today you're relocated to whichever place you always wanted to be. Now, coming to the objectives of your speech, intentional body language, I did see with your hands moving up when you spoke about the ups and the downs, when you spoke about the down. You had a few hand gestures, and you also counted some of your problems at the tip of your fingers. The unintentional body language, I think, was just joining your hands. It seemed a little unintentional. There was verbal communication where you stressed on words like a lot of difference or your gratefulness to God in a very, very strong manner. Your nonverbal communication looked like a very slight smile that you had, which gave us that nonverbal communication You had a little bit of your facial reactions when you spoke about the ups, especially the look on your face, the sparkle in your eyes. I had pinned you, yes. There were a few distracting movements, like I don't know whether it was because we are online, about you having to do a little bit of distraction with your earphones. And there was a slight kind of nervousness there. So, if I could say, it was overall a good speech where you gave a wonderful conclusion after a dark night, bright morning awaits us, which is wonderful. Now, my suggestions to you on this, looking at the objectives, would be, since it was speaking entirely about body language, you could actually use the camera by keeping it a little far away, and let us see your body language as you speak.
Sunita, can you hear us? Oh, she got disconnected.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
I was stuck, sorry. So suggestions could be, you could probably keep the camera a little far away and show us your body language. A little bit of movements could help. You could stand, probably standing would be the best option. And yes, eye contact, especially, I could see that it was, there was no eye contact with the audience. Now for online speeches, eye contact could be looking at the camera. Voice modulation, where you could actually speak a lot of your ups and downs by bringing in voice modulations, that would help. But overall, yes, your effort, the journey of your life was brought, the ups and downs were shown, and you did mention and you did show that life indeed is a roller coaster. So all the best for your speeches, and thank you for this wonderful speech once again. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster
Thank you.
Shuchita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunita. Our next evaluator is DTM Mohammed Bashir, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Devlal's speech. Toastmaster Mohammed Bashir is a senior engineer with ADNOC, and his favorite story is Robin Hood. Why Robin Hood, Toastmaster Bashir? Very briefly.
I love Robin Hood because, he's the prince of thieves and he robbed from the rich and give to poor. So that's the main reason for loving. And I love him because he has a beautiful lover also.
That's the first I heard about it. But thank you, and over to you for the evaluations.
A selfie a day keeps the friends away, said by a friend. Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guest, Toastmaster Devilal in particular. Selfie evening to each and everyone. Robin Hood is my favorite story. You may wonder why I refer to Robin Hood. There is a connection between RH and DL, Robin Hood and Devilal. Robin Hood would rob from rich and give to poor. Devilal would rob, research from wherever it is and give to Toastmasters by means of presentation and speeches. How to be at the center of the world? What a selfie apt subject topic during this pandemic. What can you do during this pandemic other than taking more and more selfies? He motivated us to take selfies wherever you are, in your house, in your office, or when you are on the street, with mask or without mask. The way Toastmaster Devlal presented the subject was interesting, attention grabbing, and hilarious. When you spoke Devlal, you always involved the audience. You said, let's see what we can do together. You reminded me again the Robin Hood, the partner of the pupil. He always involved the pupil. You used clear yet simple, again hilarious slides. I love the slides you used. The slides were like the arrows of Robin Hood. It never missed the target or objective. You referred to the websites to prove that you have done some research. Well done, Toastmaster Devlal. Don't worry, we believe you. Your voice was clear. You use, ups and downs loud with a good message. You had a good eye contact. I could see the eye of Robin Hood, when he is with his lover from you. Well done, Toastmaster Devlal. You had enough gestures using your hands and you move your heads, left and right. You had powerful conclusion, Devlal. You encourage us to take more and more selfies now. This is what we all are going to do now, from now on. I have two recommendations, Devlal. You could stand and speak so that, you can have more and more, targets like Robin Hood, maybe more lovers. I mean, the audience. You could use some, props, maybe some, ketchup pour on your body and take some selfies and show us. Overall, Toastmaster Devlal, it was an amazing speech. In fact, it was a tale of pandemic, I would say, the selfie. We loved your speech. Keep up the good work, Toastmaster Devlal. Over to you, TME.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Mohammed Bashir. That was a wonderful evaluation. Connecting your hero, Robin Hood, to the club hero, Toastmaster Devlal. Awesome. May I call upon the timer now to give us a timing report, please?
Yeah, good evening all again. So the first evaluator has taken 3 minutes, 7 seconds. So he is qualified for the evaluation. Second evaluator has taken 3 minutes, 10 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas. Moving ahead, may I call upon our VP Education, Toastmaster Neha, and President Shannon to give me the further directives regarding the time. It's 9:26. Do we need to do the education session or how it is? Because we still have the reports and a big one, Roastmasters report coming in.
Shannon?
Yeah. Do you think that you could do a 2-minute summary of the main points that's required for
All right.
TME?
All right. I'll just give you a few points on that. All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Shannon and Toastmaster Neha. So moving ahead, we have a short education session by Shuchita Udas for the role of the TME. So very quickly, the role of the TME is, yes, one of the most important ones because Toastmaster of the evening is the boss of the meeting that particular day. And you have to run the meeting in a very orderly manner. And for that, the preparation is needed. But as you keep on taking the role up and you bringing your innovative ideas, you will have fun and it will become easier. So first and foremost, when you get the TME's role, the thing that you have to do is think about a theme. Now, thinking about a theme is quite easy. For me, the way I do it is the subject which gets me excited is what I will look for, because it has to convince me. It has to convince me that, yes, I can say something about it, get my audience involved, and then we all can have some fun, some learning along the way. So choose a topic which excites you first, and then see about how you can bring in people, get them to interact with the theme and get them involved into the theme. For at the end of the day, you have to aim at making that meeting into a inclusive and an all immersive experience for all the people there. So choose a theme. Now, when you choose a theme, you can, this is especially for all the new people, brainstorm with your mentors or your VP education or whomsoever you feel comfortable with in the club too. Just think with them, sit and brainstorm with them the ideas on what prospective themes that you can think about. It could be as a cliche, I would say, or the theme which is repeated over and over again to start with: perseverance, success, failures, whatever it is. But try to bring in something innovative. Try to bring it something, give it a new flavor so that you can make use of that, display it, and bring in your creativity. There is a whole lot of creativity that you can bring in with different ideas. If you have been through the year, most of you are there with us for a long time, you know how we do it in our club. So you can think it up. So once the theme is decided, That theme, you have to discuss it with our fly master. It's being done with Toastmaster Devlal. You can brainstorm, you can give your idea, exactly your vision, because he creates posters depicting your vision. So you have to have a clear vision as to what you want to say through that flyer. Next, you have to collude with your VPE as well, because the request agenda will be rolled out into the group and people will volunteer for the rules. Once they do that, all you have to do is contact them, get in touch with them and get their details, because you have to introduce them as the role players. So it's nice to get them introduced by the names, the designations, the company they work for, and then something related to the theme, like I tried doing in my theme today, bringing in their story, because I needed for them to get involved into my theme. It's all about stories. We wanted to make stories. We wanted to hear stories. That is just the way of getting them included in my theme. So you could bring on anything that way. Get in touch with the role players, get their details, and then incorporate it into your theme. Play it out. And then you can just, in an orderly fashion, because you have to follow the agenda. The call to order is given, then the president comes in, president then after the opening address introduces you, and from there on you have to take the meeting further. Then you introduce all the role players. Further to that comes the strength of the meeting, that is the speakers. You have to introduce the speakers, get in touch with them to understand which pathways they are doing, the title of their speeches, and then you have to call on their evaluators. This is a particular protocol that you have to follow. Once you explain or once you introduce the role players, when you call upon the speakers, before that you have to call upon their evaluators to read out the objectives, then the timer gives the timing rules, then you introduce the speakers with their title of the speech, their personal information, and then the path that they are pursuing for that particular speech. Once that is over, you take over the lectern and then introduce the next speaker. When all the speakers finish, you have to call upon the timer to give the timing reports. Similarly, you move on to the evaluations. For evaluations, there are no objectives to be read. You straightway go into the evaluators. Before that, you have to call the timer for the timing rules. Once that is done, you take over, you ask for the timer's report, whether the evaluators are qualified. Since we had 2 speakers only today, so the polling was not done. The voting normally takes place after the speakers and the evaluators separately. So we vote for best speaker, we vote for best evaluator, and we vote for best table topic speakers as well, which we did today. So once the evaluations are done, you call on the table topic master, or the twisted topic in our case, and then the twisted topic master takes over, does the session, then you take it back, call the timer, the timing reports, and then you move forward. The last session of the meeting is just about calling in the reports, and then you can conclude your theme and hand over to the president for closing. It is a very important role. It is a fun role. So I invite all of you to take it up. And remember, you're going to get 5 points for that. So mark it up on your journey, take up those points and aim for the quartermaster of the year, right? So wishing you all the very best. With that, that was a very, very short, succinct TME that I would say, but I'm sure your mentors will take it further with you. So don't hesitate to get in touch with your mentors or anybody else you feel comfortable with, and then you can have some great things ahead. Moving on, it's the reports time. May I call upon our accountant, Toastmaster Nadil, to present his report, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita. I will start with you. It was really hard to find counters with you, but yeah, I could find one that came from me and some filler words. Then moving on to Shiaz, he had used so 2 times. Then came to VP of Education Neha. She had lot many hours. I think that's because when she was giving all those documents, she was showing all those documents. Then we have Vikas with 2 hours and a filler word. Then we have Naveed with 3 hours during his speech. Coming to the evaluator Bashir, he had 2 hours, and then he was using repetitively 4 times. Then coming to Devlal, we used filler words 2 times. Then we have Sunita with 2 hours. Then we have Chitsmaran and Shihaz with, okay, I think I already told about Shihaz. Chitsmaran also used some filler words. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nadin, for a very comprehensive report there. Thank you. Next, I invite our word master and grammarian, Toastmaster Mohammed Shiaz, to give his report, please.
Hi, thank you, Toastmaster Shuchita. So there were two very good speeches today, and I was very impressed. And I noted a lot of outstanding usage of words, but in the interest of time, I'll just highlight the main ones. Toastmaster Shuchita, I like the way you said weave it into a story where it invoked the imagery of like weaving and the actual way things go in. So your use of that word was really good. Toastmaster Naveed, I liked how you said it was quite dubious. And in your speech, the way you have framed it, the roller coaster of life was really, how do I say it? It invoked the feelings of your story, and it was very apt the way you've used that. As for DTM Devlal, I like how you said no brainer and wee hours in the day. Those are things that it's quite common when you speak, but these are things that you have to get used to speaking when they come out. So wee hours in the morning and so on. Toastmaster Chit, I'm sorry, I couldn't get your full name. I liked how you used superhuman feat in your speech. That's been the table topic. As for incorrect usage, I noticed a few things. I'll just go through them quickly. One person mentioned telling to, as in telling to him. So I believe you would normally say telling him, or I say to him, but you would not use T to in that way. Another person did mention the word premise as premise, which I believe is pronounced premise. That's about it.
Yes, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Shihaz. And now
sorry,
for
one more thing. Sorry, I completely forgot. Also, the word of the day. It was Toastmaster Shuchita. You actually used the word 4 times even before I mentioned that was the word. And Toastmaster Shannon as well used it once. Thank you for that. Also, Toastmaster Sunita also used the word. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shihaz. That was another comprehensive report. And now drum rolls for the big one. May I invite our roastmaster, DTM Dr. Katrak, for his favorite roastmaster's report. Over to you.
Good evening to all. Today I'll be being the roastmaster of the first meeting of this new year of Toastmasters. A few suggestions I'll be having when in the beginning, the sergeant at arms comes and says, switch off your mobiles, be very careful because some of the people use the mobile for the Zoom meeting and they should not be switching it off. So be sure that you're informed that if you're pleased, those who are not using your mobile as a device for the Zoom meeting, switch it off. Then the president, I don't know, during the president, sorry, her, I'm so used to the her, now it's a him president this time onwards. He talked about the cricket. He gave the anecdote of the cricket match. And you recollect, everyone recollected, there was one sentence which he said. He connected it quite well to Toastmasters that you don't understand anything. And then he said, you can try the different positions. What did you mean by that? I still don't understand. What positions and all, forget it, we can talk about it because right in the beginning, our Sergeant at Arms said that we are not supposed to talk about sex, politics, and religion. So I'll not discuss further. Now, then our president introduced the new committee, and in that only one part, being a surgeon, Nadal, he said, my PR activities. I won't go into further details, but we surgeons, PR means we use the finger per. I won't use the second word. It is at one end of the alimentary canal. I won't be more specific. So we doctors, surgeons, if you want to treat some disease which starts with P and ends in S, it's a 5-letter word. If you want to check, we do a PR. So all the time he was talking about PR, my PR activities. I was thinking about that. Then when we went into the Toastmaster Day, Toastmaster Shuchita, she gave a detailed educational sessions on storytelling. I think she's an experienced Toastmaster. The previous Toastmasters had a theme, but they did not discuss everything in the beginning. So many of the role players used up some of her material, some of the material which the Toastmaster wants to speak. and then that Toastmaster has nothing to speak about. So she was very seasoned. Whatever material she had, she finished off in the first 10 minutes, so that anybody who uses it later on, it's just a repeat. She spoke about everything. Yeah. Then we talked about the story of the green monkey, the yellow river, and the green trousers. It was quite interesting. The pink monkey, the monkey with the pink dress landed up becoming the pink monkey. And as usual, there was a dispute by the female about going back. One thing I noticed is that all of us at the back of our mind always have this masks and COVID and COVID and COVID, that even in this poor story, which was nothing to do with COVID, finally, we human beings added the masks, added the lockdown, and added everything to it. I think we should disconnect from COVID as far as possible. The other thing is this round robin. When I do YLP for the kids, we always have this round robin session, and believe me, the children are so creative. They are amazing when it comes to round robin session. Then the Toastmaster, they introduced the timer, Vikas. Vikas, you are around?
Yep.
Vikas's hobby is investment, and I, like a fool, do Photoshop and waste my time. Vikas, 2 questions. The Tesla in the background, did you buy it from the money you collected with your hobby?
That's the dream for my son, so he is going to buy.
Okay. If you, in your hobby, just go on investing. Then, and the second question is, you talked about those lights. Unfortunately, could not show those things. What do you mean by those things? You had some problem with the lights or something? I don't understand. You are new to this club. Be very careful what you say. There are roast masters around who are going to roast you on when you say those things and those positions. Then we were introduced Hadi. Then Nadir was the R counter, word master, and all. Then Neha was introduced, and she had a story which was very close to my heart. That is the lion and the mouse story. And I like the part of it. We should tell ourselves better stories. I think the most important thing is think positive. The more you crib and have negative points, you always start thinking negative. Think positive. I like that part of this Neha. Hadi, I would like to congratulate you because you had some story which Shuchita was not aware of. She had not read a book about it. Even you did not know the name of the author. You should have not disclosed that. You could have just given some author's name. And Neha, you can give 5 points to Toastmaster Shuchita because she was the first Toastmaster who introduced the first speaker after 52 minutes of the meeting beginning. This is a record. No first speaker has come after 52 minutes to speak. Or many a times, many clubs end the meeting. I won't say anything about that because we have lovely Toastmasters who are just allowed to speak. Then Navid talked about life is like a roller coaster. Believe me, the title of the speech made me, I got distracted because his evaluator was Bashir, am I right? And I was wondering what Bashir would have spoken if his title was Life is like a roller coaster. I know all the stuff which Bashir would have spoken about post-marriage if life is like a roller coaster. Then Toastmaster Dave came about and I loved his topic, how to be at the center of the world. But I was a bit confused. His first sentence was, Zoom Master, I may have a slide to share. And 90% of his speech was only on the slides. Only 10 seconds we could see his face. I liked the PowerPoint presentation. It was amazing. As usual, you always, I don't know where you get all these slides from. You get all these photos. It is just amazing. On a serious note, you, just like Ravi, you are one of the best. You two are one of the best when it comes to PowerPoint presentation. But when you're on the camera, I would suggest that many times I've seen your reading from down. I would prefer that your camera comes a bit higher up and you look, eye contact is better. because most of the time, whenever you're speaking, you're looking down and speaking as a speaker. When you're an evaluator, when you are doing table topics, it's fine. But as a speaker, I would prefer that's my personal suggestion, that your camera is kept a bit up. Then our second evaluator, then we had a second education session. The first one was by the tabletop, by the Toastmaster today, Neha. You did an amazing job. I searched, but I just could not find any point to roast about. This idea of giving 5 points to someone who takes a new role is really interesting, because most of the people are in the safety zone. What I don't know, there's another word for that. The comfort zone, sorry. They just go on doing the same roles. Getting these 5 points is going to be better, because then we'll see a variety, because most of the time you see I'm either roasting or evaluating. Half of the people are only speaking and some are only taking up the timer's role. And I think we will see some variety this year. Then the twisted topic session started away. She has with the 100,000 US dollars. The lady saw that the money was for her ex-husband. I don't know why the ex-husband was in the house doing what at that time. The day I was born, this was given to Chit. Frankly speaking, I don't recollect the day I was born, but many people remember to keep on reminding me of the day I was born and say that you were a nuisance from the day you were born. The third topic was when a teacher says I was going to put up my hand and say that I will speak as the third topic, but always as a signal. Whenever the teacher says it is a simple one, be very careful. The minute she said it's a simple one, I said, no, it's not going to be a simple one. Teachers always cheat you and say simple and they give you a dangerous one. But our Shannon did an amazing job. And the fourth one, picking up at someone's bag. It has happened to me once, and I know, and as they said, I will please not disclose what was in my bag for the reason I rushed back. Then we had the evaluation session, which was by Toastmaster Sunita. She was a combination of a teacher and an ophthalmologist, because in the beginning she was saying, look up, look down, look left, look right. And then she had a checklist and she found out each and every single point on which our speaker needs to improve. Toastmaster Bashir, I like your background. First time I'm seeing an evaluator utilizing his background in his evaluation. Job well done. Then a suggestion to Toastmaster Shannon and Neha. When there are some individuals which include Toastmaster Katrak, our past speaker Manmohan, and our present Shuchita, when you tell them to speak for 2 minutes, don't expect them to speak for 2 minutes. I was surprised Shuchita finished in 6 minutes. You all are new to this job. Please be good enough and say no, because we can never finish speaking in 2 minutes, minimum 8 to 10 minutes. You are lucky Shuchita finished in 6 minutes. If it was me, it would have been 10 minutes, and Manmohan would have taken at least 15. That's all. And then all the role players were called back. That's all which I have to say. I cannot see the timer, but I'm confident I have overshot my time. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Katrak. That was a wonderful evaluation done on the first meeting of the new Toastmasters year. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you, everyone. You all gave him a lot of material, including me. So that was a wonderful roast. Well, people, the meeting comes to an end, but the stories won't. Stories will continue further, well beyond, even when we are not here today. So today, even as I end the meeting, I call upon you to go out there and make your own stories. But more importantly, please be the hero of your own story. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Shannon.
That reminds me of a line from Tamasha, the film Tamasha, where the main character says, talking about being a hero, not a zero. So anyway, I'm a Rambert Report fan. Okay, so for best table topic speech, we had a topic on fraudulent relationships. We had one on the baggage thief and one on a wide-eyed baby. But the winner of today's table topics involved a speech on regurgitated spaghetti. So, so that's what we got there. Just a couple quick notes. Neha's going to be putting up some materials so we can prepare for the next meeting, which will be held on the 24th. And we've got a club officers meeting, XCOM meeting on Saturday, the second one. So for club officers, please be checking that. We're looking for transparency, so the minutes of all of our meetings will be located in place, so any club member can go and see what we're discussing and all that stuff. Two more things. One thing is a happy Eid to those who, in advance, to those who will be celebrating Eid shortly. And finally, the guest comments. First from Imran. Imran, are you still here?
Shannon, we don't have any guests now. I think all.
I think they left, right?
They left the meeting.
Yeah, but I just like to comment. Hajira has just left a message saying that she had to leave and she enjoyed the evening and probably she would like to join us very soon. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so next meeting on the 24th, we have to make sure that we schedule it so that we, start and end on time. Have a good meeting. I don't know if do we need to take a picture or no? Or?
Yes.
Okay, who's responsible for that?
The Zoom master, please.
Okay. Everybody switches on the cameras. Howdy?
Bashir is aiming his face right in front of Robin Hood. I can see that. A little down the crown. Bashir, your crown can't be seen. Yeah.
Is anything happening, Hadi?
Adi finished. He gave a very special smile.
I think he wait till I shoot the arrow.
Maybe Toastmaster Devlar could give some pointers on the picture taking.
Selfies, yes.
Is it a
Hadi, is
photo or a
anything
video
happening?
going on?
Yeah, I took a screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right,
share
okay.
it in the group.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Very,
you.
very-
Everyone.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck
Good
with the
night,
new-
all.
with the new
Good night,
XCOM.
everyone. Good night.
All the best to the new XCOM. Yes. Yes,
Yes.
Dr.
The
Karan. Well
best
said.
to the president
Thank you,
of
and
New
Shuchita.
XCOM.
Great meeting as always. We don't have to say that, but yes, amazing. It's a great start to the year.
Great start,
She's
yes.
Hopefully,
changed.
yes.
I could understand every word she said. She's changed this year. Right from her,
Yeah.
she's changed every single word we could understand.
New year is a new beginning. Dr. Katra.
A reminder, I'm sure it must have been there in club officers training coming up.
Yeah, on 16th, right.
Oh, wish you all the very best, Dave. You're a
Yeah,
trainer.
so
We've all registered. So they said 7 members from Humoroids have registered. Okay.
Good night.
Great. Good night, everyone.
good night. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
afternoon.
Thank you, Hadi.
Good
night.
Thanks, Hadi.
Selfies.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you, Nishad.
Bye.